Hello, 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 Kansas City. You are tuned in to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station with Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. We are so excited tonight to have these phenomenal guests, this beautiful family in the studio live with me on today, Sunday, August the 21st, 2022. 2022. I'm saying 2022. Because it's 2022, Mr. Evans.
It is 2022.
And we're still in this fight for justice and equality. Thank you for tuning in today. We are going to be talking to this beautiful family, the Evans family. We're missing the beautiful mother of the family, but she's taking care of business in other areas. But we are honored to have Chris Evans, the father, the son, Noah, and Isaiah with us here today to talk about the injustice that they endured on August 6th, unfortunately, at the Lee Summit Waves Water Park in Lee Summit, Missouri. And so we're just going to talk about one of the things that I want to talk about, and I know Mr. Evans, we talked before this, we want to talk about what can we do? Right. What can we do? What can we do? I believe everything that's done starts with a conversation.
Right.
So we are here to talk about it. We're going to let the young men talk. If you are unaware of what took place, it made national news. So this is something that we need to speak up about. We need to come together as a community. I'm challenging all the radio hosts and stations to talk about these things on your platforms so that the world can know that this is still happening in 2022. And our voices need to be heard and change needs to be made. And the only way we can have that change is if we unite together. Not just black people, but black, brown, and white must unite for change. Mr. Evans is a pillar in the community. He is a fellow nonprofit founder. He received the Alvin Brooks Kansas City Inspiration Award in 2021. The 2022 Kansas City Royals Buck O'Neil Legacy Seat honoree. 2021 Humanitarian of the Year Kansas City People's Choice Awards. And I was physically there to see that and see that honor. He is also the founder of the I Am King Foundation, the owner of T-Shirt King Incorporated. He has a bachelor's degree from Morehouse College, fellow HBCU grad, whoop whoop. And he also has an MBA from the University of Michigan Business School. Okay, so wow.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And his sons are at Lincoln College Preparatory. And if you can tune in and tell me a little bit about you, Noah, tell me your stats, what you're doing. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm going to be a sophomore this year at Lincoln College Prep, and right now I have a 3.8 GPA, and I play varsity high school baseball.
Wow. Isaiah?
I'm a senior at Lincoln College Prep. I have a 3.8 GPA, and I like to make YouTube videos and do other things on TikTok and stuff like that.
Wow. The Evans family are prominent in the community. And many have said that it is unfortunate and it's sad that they mess with the wrong family. I'm here to say that, and I've already said it to Mr. Evans, they mess with the right family because this family is going to speak up, and this is not going to be slid under the rug. This is going to create change. We're going to ignite change. So, Mr. Evans, I would like for you to tune in and just tell the community and the listeners what happened on August the 6th?
Right.
2022.
2022. So, in a nutshell, Isaiah and Noah, they have a brand that they've developed in YouTube, and they wanted to come together as Isaiah. We're technically celebrating Isaiah's birthday, but they wanted to invite 250 kids to enjoy the water park, and they put up their money to do so. So we signed.
Wait a minute, their own money.
Their own money. So you have teenagers that take their summer earnings and say, you know what, there wasn't a lot for us to do this summer. organize activities in the city to do. So we want to go to a water park and have a good time,
Wow.
and we'll pay for it. So it's just honorable in that regard that they would be willing to do that. So as a parent, of course, I'm there to support them. Technically speaking, whatever, the contract is in my name. So we go to the water park, and we sign the contract, schedule the date, and figure we'll show up and enjoy the water park.
Sure.
On the way to the water park, we get a couple calls and say that they've heard that the party's been canceled. We call the water park, and they tell us that this event doesn't represent Lee Summit Waves, and they're uncomfortable having us there.
So we're just going to pause right there. Because
Yes.
that needs to sink in.
Yes.
That needs to sink in. If you're tuning in, you're tuned in to the KUAW radio. Jessica Lynn Speaks Life, and the Chris Evans and his sons are here. They were discriminated against on August the 6th.
Yes.
I'm just giving a recap.
Yep.
Your sons are 15 and 17 honor students
Yes.
at Lincoln College Preparatory Academy. Pillars in the community, the work that you do. You even made T-shirts for the nonprofit that I founded
Yes.
when we first started. Wow. They put their own money up for their birthday party.
Right.
$2,000. Everything was great in July, a month prior to the party.
Yes.
They told you learned from people that were coming to the party
Correct.
that the party is canceled. You're on your way to the party.
On our way to the party.
And the reason that the party was canceled,
Because Grace Carson said she was uncomfortable having us there. That was the explanation. So we're driving there. So we you hear that they're uncomfortable having it. Well, we'll be there in 10 minutes. We got to pull up and see what's what.
right?
So we get there and she's there. She has police officers
Wow.
on either side of her. She's very angry and intense. And so the entire drive there, and even the phone conversation, she was very angry. So I'm trying to figure out, like, you canceled my party. Why are you so angry? Why are you already on 10? And we haven't talked or had a discussion. So we show up and she's on 10 and kind of repeats and reiterates that, it's her right
It's right.
to cancel the party because she's uncomfortable. And so, there's no time to tell people that the party is canceled. So guests show up, they come without incident, we leave without incident, and we report it to our people like this is terrible.
This is a grave injustice to your sons, to your family, to the community. Summit Waves is a public park,
Yes, City of Lee Summit.
which means that the public should be able to enjoy it.
Correct.
As a 15 and 17-year-old teenager, this was a big deal for you guys to have this.
Yep.
Just talk to us a little bit about how you felt, and before you do, as a parent, you and I know your babies are hurting.
Yes.
And when our babies are hurting, when they're trying to do something positive, to have fun, under supervision,
Right.
you've made all of the precautions, taken all the precautions to keep everyone safe, and this goes left, it's heartbreaking.
It is. It really is.
Tell us how you all felt.
I mean, I was heartbroken and kind of embarrassed because we had the party. All of our friends were excited, and then when we get there, they said we can't get in with no explanation of why we couldn't get in.
So, like you said, I was sad, mad, embarrassed because it was 250 people to show up for have our party, and we couldn't have a party.
Now, I'm a mama, and so I got chills. I'm mad. I'm mad because it's very difficult to be treated fairly and to be treated unfairly just because of the way you look. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there saying, it was because of this, that, or the 9. But the facts are, the parents weren't informed
Right.
that this party was canceled.
Exactly.
And it was blatant that she felt uncomfortable because it didn't represent Lee Summit Waves
Right.
water park. What brought the uncomfortability? It's time to have some real conversation and time to have some truth in the
Right.
conversation. We all know what brought the uncomfortability.
Right.
Black people have been turned away from water parks for many years, from hotels, from swimming in public places for many years. This is a continuation of the history that America has not dismantled. Racism, flat out racism. And what can we do about it, Mr. Evans?
Well, when I take it, 1,000 steps back and kind of look at the situation, one thing that comes to mind is, why are we scared of our teenagers? In general, because I've had black people say, I mean, you must be a real nice guy. Why would you want to host 250 teenagers? That's just a task in and of itself. But the question is, like, why are we scared of our teenagers? And so earlier today, this is just Chris being Chris. I actually Googled what animals fear their offspring. I put it in Google, what animals fear their offspring? And Google came back and said, did you mean eat your offspring? Meaning, we all know that some animals will eat their babies.
Yes.
But when I said what animals fear their offspring, that doesn't exist in the world.
Only with humans
Only with humans today, currently.
in 2022.
In 2022. So you got to ask yourself, like, I coach baseball, so I'm around teenagers quite a bit. I've watched them grow up. And I realize that that's kind of an anomaly for everybody. Like, everybody's not a coach. Everybody doesn't spend a lot of time. But we have to ask ourselves, are you scared of a large group of teenagers? And if so, why? Is it because we're buying them video games and cell phones and putting them in a room and just let them go and stay in their room nice and quiet? And then, as they grow up and get a little stronger and taller, we're scared of them? Or are we not spending enough time with our kids? So that's one of the main things, not to derail the conversation, but that's one of the main things we really got to think about and consider is, how can you be scared of your own babies? How do you fear your own babies? So it's hurtful to hear somebody to say that they're scared of your kids and they doing everything a kid should do. In fact, they're doing more. They're actually giving in this regard. What's the name of it? Giving hope and help?
Yes.
The name of
Giving hope and help.
It's the end of the summer, going back to school. We want everybody to have some fun and enjoy. So they're giving
That opportunity to their friends.
giving that opportunity. And now, because they're popular and they've been successful on YouTube and successful in social media, you're somewhat treating them like a criminal for their success. Like, how do you treat someone that's successful like a criminal solely because of their success? How does their success make you uncomfortable?
Well, I don't think, and I'm just, this is my show, so I can say this. I don't think it has anything to do with their success.
Right.
I think it's all about the color of their skin.
Right.
I think that black people are naturally, we naturally like to have fun. When we have fun, it looks different to them because of the skin color.
Right.
Like, we could be doing the exact same thing, but it's different because we have soul, we got flair, we
Right.
got the beats, we got the music, we got it, we
Right.
just got it, and it's intimidating. So I don't think it has anything to do with nothing other than they're black. And that's just my personal opinion.
I got you.
That's just my personal opinion, because if you had, I think there were a couple of hundred people already at the park,
Right.
and the park was closing for your private party. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So there were several hundred people at the park, majority white,
Yep.
and there was no issues. You purchased the park. Listeners, listen very good. This wasn't them just going to hang out at the park. This was a private party
Correct.
paid for $2,000 by these 15-year-old and 17-year-old students, honor students, 3.8 GPA honor students at Lincoln College Preparatory Academy. First of all, why do I have to keep saying that? It doesn't even matter if they were not honor students.
You're right.
This is the point. It doesn't matter if they're not honor students because it's the color of their skin. They could be Harvard graduates. It doesn't even matter. We're still stuck on this racism because of the color of our skin. And I just think it's asinine. And we have to call it what it is and do something about it. And that's why I'm challenging, leaders, politicians. You all need to, at least Summit needs help.
Right.
They need help.
definitely do.
They need training. The way the employee talk to you. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, there were just several comments that showed the entitlement. And when you go back and watch the video, like one of the statements was, "The police are here for me." She says the police are there
Wow.
for her, which says a multitude of things. Like that's saying that your life is more important than this life. That's saying that there's a reason for you to fear us, where police need to be involved.
I'm going to be protected. They're here for me.
Yeah.
Like they are covering me.
They're covering me You're
because
on
I'm
your own.
special.
Yeah.
You're not a part of this city. You're not a part of this state. You don't belong here. Is that what you felt like, Noah?
Yes.
And then in the midst of it, call for backup.
Call for backup.
In the midst of a peaceful conversation.
And then all the while, these young men are here. Their friends are, they have to deal with that. Talk to me a little bit about, did this cause any peer pressure, depression? What have you been dealing with this? Has this been going on, or is it just over for you?
I mean, at first I was pretty traumatized because I just said it's 2022 and stuff like this is still happening, so I have to go through this, and mainly my little brother has to go through this, or anybody I feel like I love. I wouldn't want none of my little cousins going through this. So and then after people were sending in hate messages saying I'm doing it for my YouTube or doing it for just doing it for the social media aspect, but in reality it's really a bad thing that's going on in the world.
Right, it's a bad thing. And have you thought about how this may catapult you to create change in America? Have you gotten that far in your mind? I know you're young, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I do believe that God chose your family for this to happen to. Your dad is, clearly a prominent person in the community, and he's not going to just let this slide. And I know that you learned from your dad, both of you. So what thoughts? Can you offer me anything or share anything? If anything has come to mind, what do you want to do about this? Have you thought in your mind, when I grow up, I'm going to make sure? I mean, what has come to your mind? Just anything.
I mean, I don't see any minority-ran water parks, so I feel like that would be nice, or a water park in the inner city, so we don't have to drive 20 minutes just to go swimming.
That's
during the
good.
summertime. So
That's good. So he's a senior in high school and he's already thinking about, no, there is not a water park in the city. My son...
Or a swimming pool.
Swope
Park is closed.
Swope Park. We grew up going to Swope Park in Groves.
Yeah, Groves was closed this summer.
Yes, because of COVID. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
When the babies talk, I'm a mama, so that gets me. It hurts. It hurts me that this is happening still. Would you want to go to the water park if they told you to come there for free?
No.
Why not?
I don't feel safe there.
Yeah. Well, he said, because also a lifeguard said something about something outrageous about how they don't care about us, so I wouldn't feel safe swimming there.
Well, if a lifeguard were to say that, and I saw the post and it was very derogatory, the lifeguard basically said they are shut down and she doesn't give a F. So if my black son or black grandson is needing help drowning,
Right.
would she give a F?
Right.
And I'm just using that letter because that is the letter in the terminology that was allowed to be put out there like that. And when I say allowed to be put out there, no one can control what a person puts on social media, but there's a systemic racist culture in America that if you work for a company and you can put that on your social media page, you know that you can get away with it.
Right.
And that's why I say let that be put out there, because if she knew that her company did not tolerate that, she would have never posted that. So what I'm saying is the systemic racism in every institution of America is alive, well, and thriving.
Agreed.
The most separated institution in America is church. That Sunday is the most desegregated day of the week. So many black churches and so many white churches. There's a few diverse churches in the city, but overall, we're very separated in that area. We're not teaching people to love people for people.
Right.
We're not teaching our children that. Again, the social media posts. Even if she knew her job didn't allow that, she wasn't taught in her family. You don't post that
In your work uniform.
in your work uniform because you will be fired. The repercussions of anything today in America is it's okay to storm the Capitol.
Right. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, if you had the lifeguard incident, that post by itself,
Mhm.
you can say that's an isolated incident.
Mhm.
Or if you have the lady talking to us, denying us entry,
Mhm.
you can say that's an isolated incident. But to have those two together, you know, you can't help but think that is the acceptable culture in that environment.
It is acceptable.
It's accept. I mean, even, you know, kind of brings us to another point of pointing out and being able to get this far and have a real discussion about what we can do next. How can we make it better? I think the key part of this entire thing was the fact that we were calm. We didn't cuss the lady out. We didn't meet her energy on 10 and be on 10. You know, we were able to isolate the incident versus having a bunch of distractions. You know, and that's the key takeaway for the community, really for the world, is if you want to point something out or if you want to get a point made, you can't let distractions be created. And I think by her wanting to have the police there, her posture that you see in the videos, she wanted us to fully create a distraction. Then that distraction becomes a priority, and she's able to get away with it. And that
See,
culture
they did this. Yeah.
See, they did this. This is what we were talking about. This is why we were uncomfortable. And then she's able to continue in that vein. 'Cause I feel fully well that she thought that we would step out of line and give them something, give them some type of excuse,
Give them something to talk about.
and continue business as usual.
And that's the key point that I know you want to talk about: conflict resolution.
Yeah, definitely.
Conflict resolution. Young people, moms and dads. Wow. We have to know how to conduct ourselves with self-control. Even when we are being treated in an undignified manner, when we're being treated racially profiled and all of that, we have to maintain self-control. And that's what I commend this family for doing. Mom, dad, of course the sons, they follow their parents. If you act a fool, your kids are going to act a fool. So they maintain self-control. This thing has, you know, it could have gone much worse. And when people say they mess with the wrong family, no, they actually mess with the right family, because if they mess with the wrong family, I guarantee you someone could have been killed that night.
Yeah.
Because it could have just got way out of control, because emotions and feelings rising, because we know why she felt uncomfortable. And I saw the video and the posture.
Yes. that's
Talk to
important.
us about her posture.
It was extremely defensive and aggressive, for no reason, for absolutely no reason. At one point, well, actually, in the beginning, I said, "Can we step aside or go inside and conduct business like we did when we paid the money?"
Wow.
When we paid the money, we went inside, you know, separated ourselves from the incoming customers. Let's do the same thing. And really, that's me trying to help you out, because I know there's teenagers and parents there that wanted to go in the party, and you want to have an open forum discussion. That's not
Belittling
business.
and embarrassing.
Yeah, that's
And
not
these
business.
babies said that they
Yeah.
were embarrassed.
Mhm.
I'm embarrassed at the way that this was conducted. I'm embarrassed, and I think Lee Summit, the city, needs to do something about it for employing people and not giving them the training, not
Yes.
giving them the tools of diversity and inclusion, because everything that her family and everything that she was brought up to think about black people was brought out in her posture, was brought out in the way that she handled you all.
Right.
Because you all were not aware, the family was not aware, the parents were not aware that the party was canceled until they physically just about got there.
Right, right. And so that's the perplexing thing is, why are you angry with me? You know, I've given you no reason to be. We haven't had any discussion. We haven't had any interaction. And your posture is so defensive, like I'm going to attack you. And we've had none of that.
And this is the same person that you gave the money to a month prior,
Yes.
and there was no problem.
No problem.
What do you think? I mean,
It's difficult because so much didn't happen. It's difficult to understand how you get to that level immediately. Like, it's impossible to understand. I mean, but it goes to show that there's just this preconceived idea
absolutely.
of who we're dealing with.
You're dealing with, I don't want this many black people in my park. I've changed my mind. I own the right to change my mind and not let you have this party because I'm uncomfortable. The closer to the time it gets to the party, the more I'm getting nervous.
Right.
Because I haven't been taught. I have been living in systemic racism all my life. Oh, I'm not a racist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Lee Summit. Come on, Missouri. Come on, United States of America. We have got to do better.
You got to do better.
And diversity inclusion is almost in every company, but it's not at our dinner table. That's where it starts. It doesn't start at training. It starts with your children, with your black children, teaching them not to do that to white people, not to do that to Asian people or Mexican people or people of any other race. We are all human beings. Chris, you told us you could not find that on Google. What people are afraid.
What animal
What animal?
are afraid of their offspring?
There's not even an animal afraid of its offspring.
No. Like Google literally says you must have typed in something wrong. You didn't mean to type that, is what Google told me. And Google knows everything, right?
Right.
Google said, you know how it comes back like, did you mean this?
Wow.
And even when you go through and search the responses, I couldn't identify any animal on this planet that fears their offspring. And that's a deep thing to really think about.
Well, I want to pause and tell you that I commend you for raising your offspring like you've been raising them.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And not only do you raise your boys, but you're the father to, I'm sure, many of their friends.
Mm-hmm.
You're a father figure to your baseball team. Tell us about a little bit of history about your baseball team, what you recently done with your baseball team. I mean, you guys, this man is not just a father to two young men. The statistics, you may or may not know them off the top of your head, but I'm sure you know some numbers of how many of the boys don't even have a dad.
Right.
And you're their dad.
Yeah, yeah. So like on one of our teams, I'll say, not being too specific, two of the fathers have passed. One of the fathers incarcerated. You know, there's maybe two of the players that have active fathers on the team. And that's something that you realize. But in the same spectrum, we have a team where every kid has a dad, and all of those dads pretty much help coach. And that's just, the
And these
diversity.
are the type of kids that were invited to the
These are
party.
the type of kids. But one of the things that we've done with baseball is when the Trayvon Martin incident happened, we developed a program called Badges in Baseball in conjunction with the Kansas City Police Department.
Okay.
And so in Badges in Baseball, you have police officers coming and essentially hosting a baseball camp. So they're throwing balls, fielding balls, hitting balls, pitching balls. And what it does is it gives the officers as well as the players an opportunity to interact in a non-threatening environment. It's not a situation, So, and it's been equally helpful for the officers to say, you know what? These are just kids.
Just kids.
These are just kids. Yeah, he has a mustache at 17, but he's still a kid. He's a baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to learn how to throw a curveball too. So it gives that human element. You know, a lot of times we analyze these cases and say, how dare he do that? You know, these are people that have emotions, and that goes on
Yes.
both sides. So I think the officers have learned a lot about relating to kids that don't look like them. So that's been a blessing. But at the same time, our kids have learned that because there's an officer presence doesn't mean it's a threatening situation.
That's
And
it.
I think that is one of the underlining stories of this, is that you probably had 20 to 30 kids out there that have been to badges in baseball at some point. So the fact that there's a Lee Summit police officer presence isn't overwhelming or alarming and causing you to panic.
Neutral.
It's neutral. Like, okay, I've interacted. These are people. I've interacted with them.
Sure.
And so that sentiment, like you said earlier, spreads throughout their friends.
Correct.
You know, if Isaiah and Noah are running around cussing, going mad, you know, slamming doors and having a tantrum because they can't have their party, their friends are going to do the same thing.
Exactly. But they followed you.
Yes. So I
Self-control.
appreciate- Yeah. So having that control and even that interaction, you know, at the time, you know, you like, okay, we had badges baseball, ooh, it was cool, whatever. But you don't know how that resonates with the kid. And so kids watching their parents, watching adults, watching older cousins, how they interact in the mall, in the store. Or, I mean, even as small as going through the drive-through and not getting your extra Chick-fil-A sauce. Do you just say, can I have another sauce?
Please.
Or do you cuss them out? You know, and it's funny to me because everybody is saying how this made the Shade Room and World Star and all that, but usually you think of those things as something that was violent that promotes it or something dramatic. This was a peaceful thing
Peaceful.
that made it that way because it was so rare for it to be that peaceful.
That's so key. It listen, people, you don't have to make a fool of yourselves and others
No.
to get your point across. Maintain self-control. Chris is a cool dude. I mean, he's cool. Clearly his sons are like their dad. Your persona and your self-control will ignite change in this incident. I promise you, and I know
hope
it
so.
will, because it has made national news and nobody got shot. Nobody was cussed out. The police didn't have to handcuff anybody. No drugs were recovered. No purses were stolen. No cell phones were stolen. Nobody was murdered. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is what it takes for something to happen.
Yes.
And that's what we need to teach our young people. You do not have to act out in order to make change. Parents, I'm asking you to start having conversations. Yes, we are African American. We have been the ones that have been, profiled the most. But that doesn't mean that it can't be on the other foot. Make sure that you teach your children not to do that to other people. Let's just teach everybody to treat each other the way they want to be treated. Right? That's the golden rule, and that's what we need to live by. I think Michelle Obama said it best: when they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did.
Like even when you go back to Rosa Parks,
Yes.
you never hear about what the discussion was.
Mm-hmm.
And by no means am I saying that you just take it and let somebody spit on you and dehumanize you. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm saying in 2022 the action is with your knowledge and your demeanor.
That's it.
It's not being not that we're being passive
Not
and
your
somebody
fist.
and somebody running over you. It's not that. But I don't have to. Matter of fact, you probably listen to me more when I'm not screaming and cussing. And it's a challenge. And I'll tell you this. We talk about coaching baseball. I've learned this through coaching baseball. We've had all black teams go to literally tournaments where we don't see any other black players the entire weekend.
And didn't you recently do something? You won something. It's leaving me.
Well, the kids went to to LA during Major League
That's what
Baseball
I'm thinking of,
weekend, All-Star weekend, and they played representing Kansas City. Then they went to Chicago as well and played. So these kids are starting to travel now through baseball and see.
And you say
It's
that
it.
so as a matter of factly, you know, and that's what I love about you. You just say it as a matter of fact, but it's really not a matter of fact. It's a big deal. So
It
can
is,
you
it
repeat
is.
that?
So
They need to get that.
there was a team from Kansas City that went and played and represented the Royals at Major League Baseball All-Star Weekend. Some of those players I've coached directly. Other ones are kids in the community. But these are black and Hispanic kids that are able to travel the country and go places they've never been because of their athleticism.
Under your supervision.
Yes.
Under his supervision that was racially profiled at Summit Waves Water Park in Lee Summit, Missouri, August the 6th of 2022. He's
Right.
taking kids around the country to play baseball under the Royals brand.
Well, no, that particular one was, but we played wearing the orange and the Kings. But it elevates to that level where other people want them to be on their team. So it's a huge opportunity. But I love baseball because, in a nutshell, there's so many things that are not black and white. You know, it's a judgment call. And so our kids are constantly being judged whether that pitch was a ball or was it a strike. It's never a fact. It's a judgment. And so when you have an all-black team that has these things that's purely judgment, they have learned at a young age, there's no such thing as fair. My kids will tell you there's no such thing as fair. Well, Daddy, he got new shoes. I didn't get new shoes. No such thing as fair in this household. Fair
That
doesn't
experience.
Yeah, they understand that fair doesn't exist. And they also understand, I've learned through baseball, the way I go and approach an umpire when I feel like there's been an unjust call made. Do I yell and scream at him, or do I talk to him calmly and peacefully? I've learned, because there's a time where it wasn't always calm and peaceful, especially in sports. But you have to take a step back and say, what's going to be more effective?
And I can't help but think of Jackie Robinson
Yes.
when you
yes,
talk about
yeah,
baseball.
Yeah.
And wow.
Little known fact. Jackie Robinson integrated Major League Baseball before the U.S. Army was integrated.
Wow.
So baseball and racism and dealing with that has always kind of been a hot spot.
And wouldn't it be that you're a baseball coach with your own team, your boys are on the team, and you're being racially profiled at a water park?
And we're prepared for it.
And we are prepared. And that's what I love, that these young men, I don't know what this is going to do, but I'll be watching you guys. I'll be watching you through college and watching you and supporting you, because this incident is going to make a real big change in the way that you go. Just like you've already said something. You've already said, Isaiah, that, you know, having a water park in the city, if this wouldn't have happened to you, you may not have thought about that. You probably just think, we just go out to Lee Summit, right?
Right.
But I just love the way that God works, because everything that has happened to you, Noah, everything that you're going through with this, even whatever you may be thinking at night, Mom and Dad, you may not want to tell them because you want to be strong and you don't want to put more pressure. But I know that this is something that is hard, and it's peer pressure. You got all these friends looking at you. How did you respond to your friends?
Like my dad said, I just told him to remain calm. Don't post anything outlandish. Don't say anything outlandish, and just watch how it plays.
Yeah, I told him just stay calm and relax, and we'll handle it.
The right family, Kansas City, America. You are tuned into KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station, with Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. And I have Chris Evans, who is the father of these two honor students, his sons, doing great things in the community. They've done community service. They're on the baseball team. They're at Lincoln College Preparatory Prep. They paid for their very own birthday party. Now, I don't know about you, but my kids never pay for their birthday parties. Not one time did my kids pay for their birthday parties. So hats
I thought
off.
about how terrible that makes us sound as parents.
No, I think it makes you sound real good. I think it makes you sound real good, like you doing something better than I didn't do. Because I think it's really important. You're teaching your kids responsibility.
Yes.
You know, now I used to tell my kids, you know, if you want them $300 Nikes, you can have them, but you're going to buy them.
You
them.
gotta pay for them.
So, this is wonderful that you're teaching your children responsibility, social responsibility, what's important, how to maintain self-control. All of this is good stuff to me. It's really good stuff. And so I know this is a bad situation that happened, but I do believe that good will come out of it. Good is coming out of it.
Most definitely.
These young men are sitting here, this is a Sunday, the day before they go to school, you guys. They go to school tomorrow. So everybody pray for Isaiah, pray for Noah, all of the students that are starting school all over the world. Yes, we need to keep them covered. We need to pray for their success. They're 3.8 GPA honor students. I know that Isaiah is looking at colleges,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You're
Tell
looking
us
at
about that,
college.
Isaiah.
Yeah, talk to us.
I'm actually interested in going to Morehouse College in Atlanta
Oh, he followed his
Imagine
daddy.
that.
I
Imagine
love
that.
it.
Imagine
I
that.
love it.
or Clark.
Or Clark.
Oh.
You can drop that or Clark, girl. Just go on and be like your old chip on the old block. I just love it.
Yeah, yes.
Now you
So-
got to be proud.
I'll be proud when he gets that acceptance letter.
And he
So
will.
So
He
that's
will.
what we're working
He
towards.
will.
We're working
He
towards
will.
it. Yeah.
All you do is do your best and got to do the rest. You do your best, got to
I like
do the
that.
rest. You do your best, got to do the rest. You do your best, got to do the rest. I say it all the time. It may not come out like you want it to come out. The party didn't turn out like you wanted it to turn out. Oh, but there's so much greater. And so, yes. So, yes. Make sure you
Appreciate
send me
that.
an invitation to your graduation. We're going to be talking about when you graduate next year. We'll be talking about all of our high school seniors that are graduating. So we'll be shouting you out and lifting up. I think we had 3 or 4 students get our scholarship this year from Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we had 3 or 4 students. So we'll make
Okay.
sure you apply for our scholarship and yeah,
That's great. Yeah, that's
yes.
exciting. I think I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys
so-
are doing a lot of big things.
Well,
That's
we
exciting.
do what we can. We do our best and we let God do the rest.
I hear that. That
You
is
know.
very exciting.
Yes, and so Noah, you're going into your sophomore year.
Yes.
And tell us what your ambitions are for the rest of your high school career, sports, curriculum, academia, activities.
So I just want to keep my GPA high with 3.8 and keep playing varsity baseball. That's pretty much it.
Varsity baseball. Did you play varsity as a freshman?
Yes.
Play varsity as a freshman. See, this is what I'm talking about. I hate to keep bringing back their accolades, but I just want you all to let that sink in. Because, when bad things happen to African American boys,
Right.
most people say, well, he's a bad kid, or, he wasn't doing nothing right. These kids are doing great things.
And you have to reiterate that they weren't an anomaly on that day. There were other kids, going to MU, going to Alabama A&M, doing great things in the Lee Summit School District. You wouldn't let them swim, but I guarantee you on Friday night you're gonna be cheering for them at the football game.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's something real to let that digest. They're not good enough to swim, but they can play on Friday night.
They can play pro ball for you too, and you can spend thousands of dollars on that. And oh my gosh, that's a whole nother radio show. Ooh, what's coming to my mind is
Yes,
think HBCU.
right.
And I'm so glad that you're thinking HBCU, Clark or Morehouse. I'm an HBCU grad from the baddest HBCU in the land, Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, baby. Had to put it out there, home of the human jukebox. So you need to know about them. But anyway,
Right. And they have a very good baseball team.
they had a very good baseball team when I was there. And so that is just part of their thing, I guess. But they've always had a very good baseball team, and they have a very awesome band. But they have one of the best nursing schools, law schools, and engineering schools
Yes.
of the HBCUs. But I love all of them because they were for us and by us.
Right.
And I will tell you this, young man, both of you, and I'm sure your dad can attest. When I went to 2 HBCUs. My first one was in Texas. My second one was where I graduated from, Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 5 years total. That is the only 5 years of my life where I was old enough to remember that I did not experience racism on campus. On campus. Never did I experience racism for 5 years of my life on campus. Now, that doesn't include off campus.
Right.
That's on campus.
Safe environment.
Safe environment. And when I was on campus, let me tell you, Southern University is 1,000 miles away from here, 16 hours one way. And I didn't have any parents there. I didn't have any family there. But my professors were my parents. My professors made sure I had gas in my car. My professors made sure I was good. My professors made sure I had food to eat. They were my extended family. That's what you get from an HBCU. To all of you parents who want your kids to go to KU and MU, that's fine. But I'm telling you some of the benefits of an HBCU.
It's highly critical, given that strong, solid foundation.
Yes.
And you'll find a lot of HBCU grads, if not all of them, have a high level of confidence, and that's because they have such a strong foundation. And that's something that test scores don't show. Even when looking at school districts around the metropolitan area, who's going to give your kid confidence to excel in this type of environment, in this 2022 environment? Maybe their math isn't where you want it to be, or maybe they didn't do the reading comprehension exactly, but can they survive a 2022 situation like this? Do they have the confidence and the wherewithal to work and deal with people and interact? So those are things that we can't overlook any longer.
We cannot.
Teaching your kid to love themselves for who they are, their skin color, what they look like, their size, their shape, their height, their weight. That self-confidence is number one. And I think that's the biggest thing from that you get at an HBCU, is somebody that is nurturing and pouring into your kid to where wherever they go, whatever they do, they will have confidence, whether they're good or not. Like, there's some people that graduate, you're not a good employee, but they're confident. And you'll find your way where you will be a good employee or even an entrepreneur, but having that confidence will help get you a long way in life.
A very long way. And I just agree. I agree with everything you said. And I'm just excited that you're even thinking HBCU. It's like nothing else is on the table but those two schools. I love it. I'm all right with it. Yes. So Miss Jessica will be supporting you. Either one. Either one. I'm all about it. And I'll support your kids too. We have a scholarship program, so you can go to givinghopeandhelp.org and find out about it. But he's on my show, and it's my show, so I can say what I want to say.
It's your show. The boss, that confidence.
Yes. All the HBCU feels is up in the house now. You know, we got 2 HBCU grads, and the son is on his way. I mean,
what more can you ask for?
What more can you ask for? I'm so proud. So, Noah, are you thinking that you're going to think HBCU as well?
Yes, I'll probably end up at Morehouse too.
So do you feel like you're going to just follow your brother, or is this kind of, you guys kind of have like the same desires or goals and dreams?
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to major in?
I want to major in business and the video, what was it, videography?
Videography,
Yep.
Business and videography, awesome.
Same thing.
Same thing. I love it. They are just 2 peas in a pod, little brothers.
It's a blessing.
I love it. That's such a blessing. Now you have, what was I just lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was going to say, but that does happen sometimes because there's so much going on.
But I will say one thing that's a blessing, even through sports. Your kids get under, high school sports, they can become political and just all of these things. The swimming thing, it's a blessing, parents, that you're able to go through these things with your kids when they're in your house.
Wow.
And so, good. All of this will come up again sometime in their life, but this first time, I consider myself blessed that I can go through it with them, and at night we can talk about it. Well, how do you feel? How do you feel in the morning? What happened overnight? And walk through and help them analyze and see different things. We go back and watch the video. Okay, don't just look at her posture. Let's also look at the police officer that's standing in the back and his posture.
And how was his posture?
And the police officer was kind of like, this is some BS. Like,
wow.
I don't want any, in my opinion, my read on it was, I don't want any parts of this because the water park is not in the right. It was,
wow.
Is the feeling that I got from him, And but he's doing his job. and just reading different things. But we can go through and analyze and say, well, look at this.
So
Look
he
at
was a
this.
relaxed posture.
Very relaxed posture. The entire police presence was a relaxed posture. So kudos to them, because I think they did what was right.
They did what was right.
You know,
I love it.
they didn't instigate anything. They didn't try and, put
Make
fear
it
in
a
anybody,
scene
make
or
it a scene.
Make them do something to try to have an excuse.
They fully understood this is a public park. They have the right to be here.
Well, shout out to the Lee Summit Police Department. I don't know if they've had any diversity training or if it was just the right police officers at the time, but that is very good.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
It's
so
very
happy
good.
to hear that, because it could have gone left. It could have gone left. So I'm happy to hear that.
I was just going to say, too, I don't know who you were reaching out to, but it was picked up and just got shared by the Morehouse College National Alumni Association, this show that's going on right now.
Awesome.
Good deal.
Very good. Well, that's
Shout out to Morehouse Alumni
shout out
Association.
to Morehouse Alumni Association. I love it. I love it.
We'll be in New York for the Howard Morehouse game in September.
Awesome. Are the boys going?
No, they will be in school.
Look at his face. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'll talk to him for you, but
They're gonna get to go to homecoming though. So
I know the principal at Lincoln. Maybe she'll let y'all get excused. No, I didn't say that. No. Oh man, but your day will come that you're able to do those things. But I'm just super excited about having you all here. We only have a few minutes left. Can you believe an hour is already gone
was
that
quick.
fast? It
was
goes
quick.
by fast. But I do want to say to you, Isaiah and Noah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I thank you for coming on. I know that you're teenagers. You could probably be doing more things with your time. They start school tomorrow. I'm sure they've got friends, cute as they are, possibly girlfriends, but I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But all I know, when I walked in the studio, they were out here to hear, and I was like, oh, they're so cute. Oh, so imagine with little girls. Don't hurt them at school tomorrow. Don't hurt them. Don't hurt them, please. Don't hurt them. Don't hurt them.
don't gas them
Keep
up
your
like
mind
that.
on the books.
Don't gas them up. Don't gas
Daddy said don't gas him up. I love it. But yeah, keep your mind on the books. Wow, I'm just excited for what's to come for you all. I know that it's going to be great. Make sure that even when this gets resolved, it's never really resolved, because there's a saying that says we're not free until we're all free. We're not free from injustices. We're not free from racial profiling. We're not free from it until you just don't see it anymore. You know how you watch the news and you see something happen in a small town and they say this is an isolated event.
Right.
Our events like this are not isolated. They're happening too often. And so one day, maybe I won't see it, Chris. I don't
Right.
know. Like Martin Luther King said, I might not see. I don't know if I'm going to see this as an isolated event ever.
Right.
Because it's happening every single day. But stay in the fight. Stay positive. Don't put nothing negative about anything. Even when you think this is over, don't put nothing negative. Stay positive. Stay positive. Stay upbeat. Stay inspiring. It'll spoil your witness if you don't do that. And that's what I tell people. Stay positive.
I just want to say that this is definitely not about the Evans family. I know we've been on TV, on the news, and Facebook, and in the heart of discussions, but this is for everyone in the greater Kansas City area. I hope this can impact everyone that's, been treated unfairly.
That's right.
Because there's so many of my friends and their friends and just community friends that live in Lee Summit and go through these things, these microaggressions daily.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully this will bring awareness to everyone. I know we're kind of the face of it, but the inspiration and the motivation and the energy comes from knowing, one of the kids on the baseball team was in the classroom where the teacher said the N-word a couple years ago. All of those incidents. Some of the kids were in the school where they had the prom incident with the picking cotton little flyer. So all of those things are fuel behind all of this. So don't think for a second this is about the Evans family. This is about all of those in this area that have, been a part of something terrible and unfortunate. I mean, so many people have come to us and said, I talked to my kids about going there because they went there for summer camp or whatever, and they said, yeah, we were treated bad, and they 20-something years old now, but we just never said anything. We just thought that was the thing. So
That was my son.
that was
That was me.
some other people have said that.
My
yeah,
son
so
graduated from West, and he told me, that was a normal thing for him at Summit Waves, but he never came home and told me about it.
so this is for him.
This is for my son.
Yes.
He's 22 now, and he said, Mom, we used to get and both my kids learned how to swim at Summit Waves. My daughter, she's still afraid of water to today, but my son, he got it and swims like a fish and was at Summit Waves all the time. And he said when he was in high school, they would call the police on them all the time. And I said, why you never tell us? He said, because it was our normal. It was what they did every week. And it's not normal.
Yes.
We can't normalize racism. We cannot. But I do know that we do normalize what we seem is normal to us. And so we have to speak up. And so thank you for being chosen. I believe that God specially handpicked you and your family for this. And I'm glad that he did, because I know that change is being made. Even right now, change is being made. I know that some people are tuned into this right now, and thank you for tuning in. I know some people are tuned in and will watch it later of different nationalities. And yeah, do you see drug dealers and criminals in these people? Unfortunately, that's what people see when they see the skin color. And that's what's got to change. You have been tuned in to Kansas City's global community radio station with Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. I'm going to offer up a closing remark if you guys have one more thing you want to say.
Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my dad. Shout out to my friends. Yeah.
So sweet, Mom. See, there you go. Hey, LaShawn, we miss you.
Yes, we miss you.
Shout out to my family and friends.
Shout out to family and friends. Chris.
Conflict resolution and love your teenagers.
Conflict resolution and love your teenagers. Listen, Kansas City and America, let's get behind the Evans family with our thoughts and prayers, letters, whatever we can do. Chris will let us know if there's anything we can do. If he lets me know and I can publicize it, I will let you know. And we need to get behind this family and all families that are going through injustices. Let's lift our voice. Let's black, brown, and white people, let's unite for change. You've been tuned in to KUAW radio station here in Kansas City. Jessica Lynn Speaks Life.